guys, welcome back to Elise Reads and Speaks. So I am still riding the biggest high from finishing Obsidio, which is the third installment in the Illuminae files. I listened to that audiobook and I loved it. And it kind of got me thinking, since I think those would be such great movies, what other series do I think would be such great movies? And maybe ones that I don't think would be such a great idea. So I figured I would make a short list of 5, and then maybe you can give me your suggestions and tell me if you agree or disagree with mine. So let's kick it off with the Illuminae files. I think that these would be great. There's so much action going on, and the characters are really interesting. And I gotta tell you, my boy, Ezra Mason, finally came back in Obsidio. So I kind of rate them like this. Like, I like Illuminae, and then Obsidio, and then Gemina, okay? Because Ezra was not so much in Gemina, and I was really missing him. But Obsidio, he was right back in there, and it was great. So the reason I think that these would make good movie installments is, again, there's a lot of action, and there's dialogue right in the books. So they can take the words right from the pages and use them in the movies. Man, I can't stand when there's a YA book that's made into a movie. I watch the movie and I'm like, okay, where did you just pull that information from? That did not happen in the book, okay? Here's the material. You use what's on it. I can't stand that. Illuminae, Gemina, Obsidio, you can use what's right on the page because it's written as a play and it would be fantastic. It's such a great story. All right, my second one. I've said this one a lot, all the time, I know, but the Lunar Chronicles, it would be great. Now, this is where I slightly differ. I do not think that these would be good movies. I think this needs to be a TV show because there's so much information in there, and there's so much information that would probably be left out if they were made into movies. And the 4 main books in this series, they are Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Winter, okay? But there's this other little one called Fairest that needs to have its say. And I think if they were made into movies, they would leave out Fairest. And man, Fairest is some of the most interesting information in there. You need to have it. So that's why I think that one would be a better TV series. My next one on my list is 3 Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake. So I've mentioned this one before, and I've said that some of the negative reviews are that there's too many names and too much information and people don't know what's going on. I think if they made these into movies, it would kind of grab those people in because you would be able to highlight what's going on in each faction, like the Naturalists and the Elementals and the Poisoners. And I also think that these are kind of like the Harry Potter houses. Like, I've told you that I'm a Ravenclaw. And 3 Dark Crowns, I have to say, I'm a Naturalist. And I think people kind of enjoy separating themselves and seeing where they fall with the rest of their friends, you know? It would kind of grab them in. And plus, there's a lot of cool action in that series, too. And I think it would translate well on screen. Like when they're all going against each other at that feast, when, you know, the bear comes. I'm not going to ruin anything, but there's a bear, and it comes. And I think it would look awesome on screen. So yeah, I think that one should be tried into movies. Not so much a TV series, because I don't think that it's really needed. But if they made separate movies for each, I think that would be really cool to watch. So 4th on my list, I was going down the books that I had recently read. And by recently, I mean like in the past year or 2. And I was like, well, what else do I think should make the cut? And I came across a shockingly pleasant one. The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. That one was surprisingly good. I wasn't sure what to expect. Sometimes I don't even read blurbs when I'm about to start a book. I just plunge right in. So I listened to the audiobook for that one. And at first, there was a lot of cursing. I was like, okay, I mean, is this what I'm going to listen to the whole time? I mean, nothing against cursing, but I just don't need to listen to that and have to be forced to, like, think it's cool, you know? But no, it wasn't like that at all. By the time I finished the book, I felt like I really read something important. And I think that would translate well to a movie. This is just a one-shot book. And with the era that we're in, you know, the Me Too era, it has something to say on that matter with the sexual assault that's dealt with in that book. It's modern, it's dramatic. It also has that true crime going on. I think it would rope people in. And I think it's a book that would really, really translate well. Like the characters in it, they each have their own individual story. And just us as women, it kind of highlights the crap that we go through as women. So I kind of hope somebody higher up one day just picks up that book and says, okay, this is a story that needs to be told. It needs to appeal to the masses because we will get people in those seats in the theater. I agree. My last one on the list is an audiobook that I am currently listening to for the second time. That would be The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton. So I'm listening to this one again because I wanted to refresh my memory before I go on to the second one that just came out. And this one is like a twistedly weird good story. If you think about just a blurb on it, it probably sounds really boring. You know, a bunch of these bells live in a society and make people beautiful that want to be beautiful. You know, that sounds boring. That is not what it's like at all, okay? These people that are born in this world or society, I think it's the world that they're in, they're born with this gray pallor and straw hair, and they're supposed to look incredibly ugly, okay? Whatever they look like, whatever you're picturing in your head, you're just picturing like kind of like a corpse is what I see in my head. But there are these girls, the bells that are born, that have magic in their blood, and their magic can make people beautiful. So again, I know that this sounds a little boring, but it kind of mirrors what we've got going on today. People, when they think about beauty, they get really obsessed with it. I mean, I can't help but think of the Kardashians and what they started off looking like and what they look like now. I mean, they kind of went to their own bells, if you think about it. And it's a really big obsession, you know, in our society. It's all over magazines, it's all over ads for TV shows. I mean, speaking from an actor point of view, you really can't get cast in a lot if you're not a great looking person. I mean, it's so shallow, but it's so true. And I don't know if the author meant to put that spin on this book, but that's what I really get from it. I feel like it mirrors the society that we're in, and it has something to say. And I think of it from the filmmaking standpoint, and it would be really cool to see some of the CGI effects on what the bells can do. Like, they can give people a smaller waist, they can change people's hair color, maybe give them a smaller nose or a bigger nose, or change the structure of their face. And thinking of it like that, I mean, that would be really cool to see on the screen. Now, I haven't read the second one yet, so I can't tell you if this would be a good movie series going on. But from what I know of the first book, I would really like to see it. Really would. So then I started thinking about, those are my 5, okay? I named 5. So I started thinking about series that I love that maybe wouldn't translate as well. So I know that, I think it's Hulu has picked up the rights to Throne of Glass, and I am a Throne of Glass fangirl. I love Throne of Glass, but I don't know if that would translate well. There's a lot going on. And I feel like with the details that are in the book, there's so much to leave out too. I really want to like whatever they decide to do, but I also will not be surprised if I'm incredibly disappointed because I love that series so much, and I just think that there's just too much going on for that to all make it on the screen the way that I would want it to. And the same goes for Sarah J. Maas's other series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I love that series too. But man, you would have to get the casting perfect for that one for me to love it as much as I do. Okay? I don't want another Twilight train wreck. You know, I watch those movies all the time. Okay? I still love them. But the casting is atrocious. I mean, Bella takes 20 minutes to finish a sentence. Edward is depressed. Alice can't act her way out of a paper bag. Oh, it's just rough. It's rough all around. But I watch it. I just don't want the same thing for A Court of Thorns and Roses. I really like the characters in there, and I can't imagine that they would find a perfect person for each person that I love in that series. Another series that falls on that list is Caraval. So I love Caraval. I love the pictures that are in my head when I read that series, and I just can't imagine that people would find a way for them to translate that magic that's in my head onto the screen. I mean, I just see such bright, fantastical colors, and it's just a magical atmosphere, and I just feel it when I read the book. I've read it twice, and I'm transported there each time. And I don't think a movie would have that capability. I mean, it kind of makes me think of The Greatest Showman, the magic there, and I feel that one. I love that movie. Maybe if they could get people on board that made that movie and just have them make Caraval, maybe that could translate well. I'm not sure. And what's my other one? I know. The Selection. A Selection is a series that I love. Well, the first 3 books. The last 2, oh man. If you haven't read The Selection, I suggest that you read the first 3 and just leave the last 2 alone. Don't even do it. All right, but the first 3 books of The Selection, they're great. And it's commonly referred to as The Bachelor meets The Hunger Games, which is totally right, because I love The Hunger Games and I love The Bachelor. So I love The Selection. But I have to say, like, if thinking of it when it goes on screen, it would fall flat. Okay, I think it would be boring because a lot of the story revolves around America's feelings and, what's she gonna do about Maxon and what's the other guy's name, Aspen. And even though that there are these different castes in society and that part is super interesting, I don't think it would go well on film. I think it would be boring. You'd be watching like 2 hours of girls fight for a guy. And I mean, you can get that on Monday nights with The Bachelor. But don't let that deter you from reading the series. Like, actually reading the series, it's fun, and there is action that's going on. I just don't think it would translate well to a movie or a series, a TV series. Okay, so those are my thoughts. I have 5 series that I think would translate well. I had a couple that I did not think would translate so well. So if you agree or disagree with me, I would love to hear it, so leave a comment below. If you have any ideas of what books would make some good movies, leave those below too. As well, if you have any ideas for books that would not translate well and you hope they never make a translation of it into a movie, leave that too. I'll see if I agree with you. All right, thanks for tuning in to Elise Reads and Speaks. I'll catch you next time, guys.